A couple months ago, I did a video here on YouTube during my lunch break talking about should romance be in MLP FIM. And, there's a lot of people that kind of have their opinion on it. Some don't like it, some don't like the idea, some are okay. But here's the question. Here's the question. If romance is never kind of shown that much in MLP, then let me ask you this. Why do certain characters, mostly secondary characters, end up with potential love interest? Big Mac, for example, I should give you an example in Big Mac. You see, if romance is not supposed to really be a focus in MLP, then why did Big Mac in two separate Valentine's Day related episodes end up with two different characters? The first being Cherry, and then another, I can't think of her name right now, called something Hart or something. Why did he end up with them? Why did he end up with them? If romance isn't like a centered point. I can tell you why. Because the writers do encourage romance in the show. They do encourage romance in the series. But here's the thing. When it comes to the main six, you may get hints here and there that there might be some romantic tendencies between them and potential love interests, but it's never really capitalized on. It's not really taken advantage of. A good example, if you will, is Soren and Rainbow Dash. Now, ever since Soren got introduced and sort of became like a best friend or a confidant, a comrade when it comes to the Wonderbolts for Rainbow Dash, fans have always been saying that there is something there. And that Rainbow Dash has an attraction towards Soren and possibly vice versa. Not just because Soren's a Wonderbolt, but because, he has the looks in the eyes of Rainbow Dash of a potential love interest. But here's the deal. It's never really capitalized on that much, but it is hinted at. It is hinted at because if you take a look at Newbie Dash, which is the first episode where she becomes officially a Wonderbolt, she tries everything she can to try to find the right personality to fit in with, or the right archetype, or architect type, or archetype, whatever you want, architect type, or archetype to fit in with. And she even goes as far as imitating her friends, from Twilight to Fluttershy to Pinky to Applejack, to even Rarity. Yes, she impersonates Rarity and uses this to flirt a little bit with Soren. She uses all the other personalities on all the other Wonderbolts. But when it comes to Soren, she turns herself into Rarity, and there you go. But why? Why would she do that? Why didn't she just be herself? Even though Soren could see through it. It's because Rainbow Dash is attracted to Soren, and possibly vice versa. But you see, the way Soren saw through it basically showcases that Soren does like Rainbow Dash, but he likes her for herself, not for somebody she's not. So there is that hint of flirtation there and attraction, but it's never capitalized on. Another good example, if you will, actually does relate to both Friendship is Magic and, unfortunately, in the eyes of some, Equestria Girls, the spinoff. And that is Twilight and Flash Sentry. See, Flash Sentry was officially introduced in the Equestria Girls movie, the first one. Not only was he introduced in pony form, but he was reintroduced as a human teenager. But why, of all characters, is this guy the potential love interest for Twilight? Well, I think Brony Notion brought it up best. And I think even Silver Quill pointed it out. Even though he doesn't have really anything going for him from a character perspective, personality perspective, and all that. The only reason he was introduced and shoehorned in was basically as the love interest. Because if you take a look at all the other, I guess you could say magical girl high school related shows out there, there's always that potential love interest that's a part of it. You take a look at the most famous of them all, the anime Sailor Moon, and you kind of get the idea. But then you take a look at Winx Club, you take a look at Witch, and the list can go on, and there's always that potential love interest for the main character. There's always that potential love interest for the main character. And even if you get to know who this love interest is from a personality standpoint, you're able to spend time with him throughout the show, some people may be okay with it, some may encourage it and say, yes, this has to happen, or yes, I'm glad it's happening. And some may discourage it and say, no, it shouldn't happen, and said protagonist should be with somebody else. But even if that's the case, what is Flash Sentry's role? The only roles that he's ever had is anytime Twilight comes into a castle, whether it's Cadence's Crystal Castle, Celestia's Canterlot Castle, or what have you, she always ends up bumping into him. She bumped into him in the movie where she kind of blushed a little bit, and he kind of tells her, we got to stop running into each other like this. Well, he actually speaks. But she even does this, I think, before and afterwards, like I said, in the show as well. And the question is, are the show staff hinting at something? Because if they're hinting at something, then they should just go out and do it, right? They should at least dedicate a future episode down the line of saying, hey, here. Let's just get this over with. Let's just put them together and be done with it. But they don't. They just tease it. They hint it instead of following through. I mean, when you take a look, like I said, with Big Mac and the two love interests he had in the two separate Hearts and Hoofs Day episodes, the Valentine Day ones, they went through with it. Even if they're just like one-time, love interest for for Big Mac, they went through with it. End of discussion. They went through with it. So it's like, why tease it and not follow through on it? Why hint at it, not follow through on it? I mean, heck, they kind of showed that there's some ponies, like in the episode Simple Ways, that would be attracted to Applejack, and she would kind of, in a sense, acknowledge it. But if you're going to tease something like between a character like that in Simple Ways and Applejack, or if you're going to have somebody for Applejack down the line and tease and hint at something there, then why not follow through on it? You see, that's the question. Why tease it and not follow through? And again, it goes back to Spike and Rarity. Why tease the fact that there's something between them? Why hint at it? Why even, in fact, when it comes to, like I said, why tease it or hint at it, or even have the characters acknowledge it in Secret of My Success? Yes, or Secret of My Success, and not really follow through on it too much. I mean, the closest you followed through on it was what? Or hinted at it was what? What was it? The Nightmare, the Halloween episode you did a couple of seasons ago? About a season or so ago? Oh, where Fluttershy actually was encouraged to try out Nightmare Night? Is that the only time you hinted at it? What was the last time you hinted at it? Like in Gauntlet of Fire? It's like, why hint at it, have the characters acknowledge, and not really follow through? Not do something that allows the characters to follow through on it. Because to me, I look at it this way. A lot of live action and animated shows, for that matter, have always hinted at some kind of romance between certain main characters or certain supporting characters. And it's always taken up to almost the end of the series, or close to it, for the creative staff to follow through on it. Sometimes, yes, it's required that they do it because if it's based on something, you need to do it. But if you know the fan base, sees the hints there, the teases, and basically are trying to encourage you or hint at you or send in your direction the knowledge that they see this and they want it to happen, or they want you to follow through on it or just drop it entirely, then if you're a creative staff, you need to stop teasing. I mean, yes, teasing and hinting kind of opens up the imagination of the minds of the fans. Yes, it does do that. But if you're going to keep teasing and hinting at it, especially with a show like Friendship is Magic, then sooner or later, you gotta, what's the old saying? Go or get off the pot with it. That's what you need to do. You need to go or get off the pot. And if I'm Hasbro, if I'm DHX Media, if I'm the lady writers, Christine and Jessica over there, if I'm Megan McCarthy or Jason Therese, if I'm anybody there, then what I do is I basically follow through. I find a way to follow through on this. And if I know if I know the show could be coming to an end, maybe within a season or a couple of seasons, or after a decade's worth run on air, if I know it's going to be coming to an end, probably after a decade-long run, 10 seasons that is, then I need to start wrapping things up now. I need to start getting things acknowledged and made official. I mean, because here's the thing. Just because, let's say, you could make them a couple and all that, like I said, just because you can, like I was saying, if I'm the creative staff and I know the series could be coming to an end soon, maybe after a few seasons, next season, after a decade's worth of seasons, then what I do is I wrap things up. I bring things to a head. I officially make things happen. And if I'm hinting and teasing at a possible romance between certain characters, then I go full on with this. I make it official. I make it happen so that even if it's not in your face, at least you're acknowledging for that episode and the rest of the series, no matter how much longer it goes for, that these characters are now together. Because like I said, with Rainbow Dash and Soren, if you're hinting that something there's some kind of romance and everything, and let's say the series comes to an end within the next few seasons or whatever, then if I'm the creative staff, I get off the pot and I make it happen. I make it official. I make them a couple. And here's the thing, you don't have to make them a couple or make them boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and shove it in people's faces. You take an example of what you've done with Big Mac and his love interest. You make it happen and you just leave it at that, so that even if you don't really touch upon it until maybe the end of the series, at least the fans know that you've acknowledged the existence of this pairing and you've made it happen. Same with Spike and Rarity. Don't keep teasing at it. Don't keep teasing at it or teasing or hinting at the fact that there is indeed something there and we all know about it thanks to the characters themselves. But make it official. Make something official. Make something out of it is what I would do. Make something happen. And if you have to do an episode that even for one time only, Spike gets turned into a freaking pony, and that's what makes it happen, makes it official, and even if you turn him back into a dragon after that, you could still keep it official. But the thing is, you don't have to, like I said, shove it in people's faces. You just do it for that one time. It's done, and it's out of the way. Same with Twilight and Flash Century if you do that. You want to make them a couple in the Friendship is Magic world? Fine. That's not a problem. But do something to make it official. And again, even after you do it, and it happens, you don't have to shove it in people's faces. You just put it to the side, at least until the end of the series. Same like I said with Dash and Soren, Spike and Rarity. If you want to do something with Pinkie Pie and Cheese Sandwich down the run, or down the aisle, fine. Or down the run, fine. Do that too. It works. It would work because you know why? You know why it would work? Because fans would expect it. Fans would accept it. And both are very similar in style, and they would complement each other. End of story. And if you want to give Applejack somebody, whether it's the pony that was crushing on her in simple ways, or somebody new, that works too. The point is, if I'm the writing staff and I know the series could be coming to an end, and I'm hinting at all this romance, all this shipping, if you will, then I make it happen. Then I officially make it happen, but make it happen in a way to where you dedicate an episode to it, you make it official, and then you just leave it at that until maybe the end of the series. There you go. I mean, because here's the thing. If you have romance in the series, because here's the thing. Why have romance in the series if you're not, especially with the main six, if you're not going to go through with something? I mean, you went through with something as far as one of the princesses go with Cadence in Shining Armor. You made that happen. You made Cranky and Matilda happen. And that was like a sequel to that one episode. Oh, that had Pinkie in it. You made that happen. The point is, I think the time has come for Hasbro, and if more so, DHX Media and the creative staff to make this happen, make this a reality. Make it a reality so that once it's done, you can get it out of the way and go from there. So, let me know what you guys think, but again, why tease romance if you're not going to follow through? Just saying. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I am out.